Abandoned baby found at my door. Police said it was mine and saw bruises. Not my kid, I said, pointing to Sophia. DNA results, I'm a mother of twins. I'm Emily Thompson. I just hit the big 30, and I reside in a calm, unassuming Michigan suburb. From my window, I watch maple trees dance in the breeze, a spot where the changing seasons are really felt. Ryan, my husband, and I have been an item since college, and we tied the knot right after we finished school. He's 32 and works as an engineer for an auto parts company nearby. Our house is a 2-story structure with a charming white picket fence around it. You might say we're living the ideal life. After 5 years of being married, we decided to expand our family. I will never erase the elation when the pregnancy test showed up positive. Ryan and I embraced and celebrated with so much excitement. It felt just like a scene out of a film. Each and every day since learning about the pregnancy has been filled with new things. I purchased so many pregnancy books from the local bookstore and spent evenings studying them. I would feel a rush of excitement every time I saw baby stuff at Target, and selecting a stroller at Bye Bye Baby was the best part of my days. However, mixed in with the pure joy came some worries. Questions such as, will I be a good mother and can I handle the physical pain of labor, would often float through my brain. When these thoughts crept in, I would clutch the quilt my mom, who lives close by, made for me, take slow, deep breaths and attempt to calm myself. Throughout the pregnancy, I joined prenatal classes held at the community center. Connecting with other expecting women and sharing knowledge really helped me grow more confident. We spent our weekends with Ryan, mimicking labor and delivery scenarios while practicing Lamaze breathing, giggling the whole time. Then, approximately 2 weeks before my due date, I was unexpectedly struck by contractions. "Ryan, now," I yelled. Ryan instantly got flustered and started getting ready. He grabbed the already packed hospital bag and we got into the car. Ryan drove very fast down the usually calm, streetlight-lit roads. We reached Mercy Hospital after about a quarter of an hour. The gigantic cross at the hospital's entry loomed in the dark sky. A nurse waiting at the ER door instantly brought a wheelchair. "Everything is all right, Emily." The nurse's kind voice instructed me to breathe deeply as we went toward the maternity area. As soon as we were in the room, the midwife, Sarah, arrived. Her composed attitude helped to lessen my stress. Sarah asked, "How far apart are the contractions?" I replied, "Around 5 minutes." She nodded and connected the monitor to my abdomen. "Everything is going well. Now we will just wait until the baby arrives." Whenever a contraction surged, Ryan clasped my hand. His warm hand gave me strength. From time to time, he would look concerned, seeing my face change with pain. "It's all right, Emily, you can do it." The time slowly passed. The space between contractions became shorter. The clock on the wall seemed to move incredibly slow. As the sun began to come up, Sarah came to check on me once more. "Emily, it's nearly time to meet your baby." And I heard those words, I felt a wave of power wash over me. I held onto Ryan's hand even harder and scraped up the last remaining bits of my strength. Almost there, just a bit more. Push, I could hear Sarah's voice. And then a tiny cry filled the room. "Congratulations, it's a girl," Sarah announced, smiling. She put the baby on my chest, the weight of a small, strong life. Tears streamed down my face. "Hello, Sophia," I breathed. Ryan, as well, was staring at our daughter, his eyes glistening. After that, they brought me to a private room. I was completely drained but overflowing with happiness, cradling Sophia. Then I heard a soft voice coming from the bed next to me. "Hello, I'm Jessica, congratulations." I turned and saw a young woman smiling. She was also holding a baby. "Thank you, I'm Emily. Did you just have your baby too?" Jessica confirmed with a nod. "Yes, last night, it's a boy." We shared smiles and talked about the new life ahead of us. Talking with Jessica calmed some of the nerves about becoming a new mom. However, something felt strange about a fleeting shadow that passed across her eyes. At the time, I didn't grasp what it was. After being at Mercy Hospital for 3 days, we finally went home with our newest family member. When we opened the front door, there was a handmade banner in the living room that said, "Welcome home, Sophia." Ryan must have made it when he wasn't working. I felt a knot of emotion in my throat because of how thoughtful he was. As I walked around the house, Sophia in my arms, everything felt new. Places I'd previously walked through without giving it a second thought suddenly made me question if they were actually safe for my little one. Things like staircases, sharp edges, even tiny things, everything now seemed like a hazard. "It's all right, Emily," Ryan would say. "We'll make it a secure place for her together." His words gave me a bit of comfort. The experience of raising a child was such a blend of happiness and challenges. When Sophia's little fingers would grab onto mine, I would experience an overwhelming sense of joy. Yet there were also those sleepless nights because of her crying, alongside days spent constantly fretting over her meal times. Every single day was a learning experience, and I was always clutching a parenting book I'd picked up at the local store. Ryan often told me, "Emily, you're an incredible mother." Even so, his workload had recently become overwhelming. He had to stay late at the office much more frequently due to a new project. Each time I saw him looking weary, I felt a pang of guilt. "It's all right, this is just temporary. It's all for Sophia," Ryan would say with a smile, but I couldn't help but feel like the time we had together as a family was shrinking. Nevertheless, during weekends, the three of us would go to the farmer's market or have picnics at the park nearby. These occasions actually helped to alleviate the exhaustion that came with our daily routines. One day, I left Sophia with a babysitter and hung out with a friend at a coffee shop, which I hadn't done in ages. "Raising a child is certainly hard, but it's also something you wouldn't trade," my friend remarked, and I agreed deeply. My steps felt lighter on the way back home. However, from that moment on, my life was about to take a completely unexpected turn. That particular day, things began in the same way that they always did. Once Sophia's meal was done and I'd put the laundry on the line, the doorbell chimed. I went to answer it, calling out. When I opened the door, there was absolutely no one there. I was confused, so I went outside and saw a big cardboard box sitting right by my feet. What in the world is this? This box had little holes in it, and I could barely hear some noises coming from within. I cautiously lifted the top of the box, and there was a small infant lying right there. I couldn't help it, I just gasped. The baby's eyes were shut, and its complexion was really flushed. Though it was breathing, its motion seemed rather feeble. It was so hot inside the cardboard box, almost like a steam room with the sun beating down. Regaining my composure, I quickly dialed 911. I said it was an emergency. "There's been a baby abandoned in front of my place." I said that they needed to get here fast. I did as the operator advised, and I brought the infant indoors. Inside the cool living room, I wrapped it in a soft towel. I fed it a small amount of Sophia's milk using a spoon. "Everything is okay now, you're safe." I gently felt the baby's brow, and I could tell it had a temperature. My heart clenched with concern. Shortly after that, I heard the sound of sirens. Both an ambulance and the police showed up at the same time. The paramedics started treating the baby right away, and a police officer started asking me questions. "At what point did you discover the box? Had I seen anybody who looked suspicious?" I answered all of their questions, providing everything I knew. The officer then asked a strange question. The officer wanted to know if this wasn't my child. "What?" I indicated Sophia's crib, saying she was right there. Despite that, the officer's face was still unyielding. "We're going to need a DNA test," he told me. "Until we get those results, there's a chance we may have to take you into custody. Arrest, but I'm innocent." As fear started to grip me, the officer said without emotion that the baby has marks that point to abuse. "Did you give birth to this baby and then desert her because you didn't want to care for her? That's just not the truth." I never did anything like that. My thoughts just shut down. Why is all of this happening to me? I haven't done a single thing wrong. As I thought of Sophia, tears began to fill my eyes. Just then, Ryan arrived home from work. He immediately realized what was going on and hurried over to me. "Emily, are you all right? What's going on?" Having Ryan there helped me to calm down a little. While he was speaking to the officer, I held Sophia, my hands shaking. What's next? Will I, an innocent person, really be arrested? What will happen to Sophia? And also, who is the baby in that cardboard box? My brain was flooded with questions I couldn't answer. After the police were done questioning me and I got back home, I began to worry about how Ryan was acting in our silent house. His recent behavior, like coming home later and working on weekends more, it all seemed off. He could be concealing something, and this thought wouldn't go away. The following morning, once Ryan had left for work, I made up my mind. I decided to go through his study. I felt awful, but I tried to justify it by saying that I had to uncover the truth. I opened the drawers and started examining each piece of paper. Among a pile of old receipts, I stumbled upon a few cafe receipts I didn't recognize. These receipts were dated from the time I was in the hospital. Why were there so many receipts from a cafe close to the hospital? My pulse quickened. I figured I should also look at his phone records, so I accessed the online details. There I found logs of many calls and texts to a number I didn't know. I took a deep breath and called the number. A familiar woman's voice replied, "Hello, Jessica speaking." Right then, everything clicked into place. Jessica, who had shared a room with me at the hospital, it seemed she and Ryan had something more going on. Why, tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. A wave of sorrow and fury at being betrayed washed over me. That night when Ryan got home, I showed him the evidence. I asked him to explain everything. "What is this?" Ryan's face immediately lost all color. "Emily, please hear me out. There's a reason for this." "A reason? There's no excuse." "There's no point in keeping secrets," I thought. Ryan's shoulders slumped and he started to tell me everything. He described meeting Jessica, learning about her situation, and then Jessica wasn't in a relationship. She was worried about raising a child on her own. "So you were there to comfort her?" "No, Emily, I was just listening to her," Ryan said, but then his voice faded. I saw tears welling in his eyes. "But what?" Jessica, she switched the bobbies. Those words made me gasp. The baby in the cardboard box immediately came to mind. That baby. Yes, it's actually our child, Emily the one. The little one, the one we've been caring for, belongs to Jessica. Hearing Ryan admit this, the world seemed to do a somersault. I wondered why the silence until this moment. Apparently, Jessica had been issuing threats. She told us she'd hurt our baby if we revealed what we knew. Every single one of Ryan's words cut me to the core. The following day, I made a decision. I needed to talk to Jessica face to face. I set up a meeting at the Starbucks in our town. When she arrived, she looked exhausted and worn down. "Emily, I am so sorry," she said. Tears were welling up in Jessica's eyes. I started thinking maybe she too was a victim of everything. "Tell me everything," I urged. Jessica proceeded to lay everything out. She explained her feelings of isolation, her relationship with Ryan, and how the bobbies were switched. She hadn't been sure she could handle raising a child by herself, but when she saw how happy our family was, it made her envious. Jessica's words stirred up both rage and sorrow within me. Even so, I could also sense her own pain. We made the immediate decision to get a DNA test. The days that followed as we awaited the results felt like a waking nightmare. Ryan tried his best to be supportive, but I could feel a separation forming between us. Finally, the test results arrived. It turned out Jessica had been truthful. The baby we had been raising was, indeed, Jessica's child. The baby we'd found in the box was actually our biological daughter, Sophia. At the instant I found out the results, a tidal wave of feelings crashed over me. I felt joy, sadness, anger, and relief. But most of all, I knew I had to protect both little ones. Ryan was completely shocked. "Emily, what now?" he asked. I took a long, slow breath and then replied, "They're both our daughters now." I'm committed to shielding them. What had happened was out in the open. Still, we were clueless about what we should do next. One thing was certain. We had to survive this difficult situation and build a new kind of family. The day after the truth came out, we agreed on a family meeting. Settling on the couch in the living room, the air thick with tension, I inhaled deeply and started talking. Ryan, Jessica, and the little ones. We have to figure out how to proceed from here." Ryan kept his gaze lowered. Jessica looked like she was about to cry, and the bobbies were peacefully asleep. This scene perfectly captured our complicated situation. "Let me speak first," Ryan began. "Emily, I am so sorry." As I listened to Jessica express her feelings, I could relate to how she felt, but that doesn't change the facts. I let you down. "I'm genuinely sorry." Ryan's words made my chest feel tight. Fighting the anger and sadness, I tried to keep myself together. "Jessica, I understand how you're feeling too. However, swapping the bobbies, that was too far." Jessica responded through tears. "I am so sorry. I panicked, but now I just want to see my child." Her words stirred something within me. Being a mother, I understood that desperate desire to be with your child. Nevertheless, we also had to think about the legal side. "First, we have to tell the police everything," I stated firmly. "Swapping bobbies, abandonment, those are crimes. But if we work together, there could be some understanding." Ryan and Jessica both gave silent affirmations. I noticed a determination shining in their faces. The following day, our group went to the police station. The interrogation lasted for a long time, but we revealed everything completely, concealing nothing. The police officers appeared to be quite taken aback, yet they were glad we were so willing to help. The detective overseeing the case mentioned that the legal process from here on out would be challenging. However, the judge would probably take our candor into account. Those words gave me a small amount of optimism. The trial commenced a few weeks later. Jessica faced accusations of switching bobbies and abandoning them, but considering her mental condition and the situation she was in, she managed to escape being incarcerated. Instead, she was put on a stringent probation and was obligated to attend therapy. Ryan was looked at as a possible helper in the crime, but since there was no clear evidence of his participation, he just had to pay a fine. Even so, this whole situation truly affected his professional life. Once the trial concluded, we talked about how to build our family up again. We were all together around the coffee table in the living room. The atmosphere was somber as we started the conversation. "Emily, what are we going to do?" Ryan asked, his voice filled with nervousness. I shut my eyes and reflected carefully. I considered everything that had occurred, the emotional roller coaster we had ridden, and most importantly, I thought about the two bobbies. "Ryan, to be frank, I still struggle to forgive you right now," I said in a soft voice. "But for the sake of our children, we have to work together." Ryan seemed down, but he signaled that he understood what I was saying. Turning toward Jessica, I told her, "Your child is part of our family now, too." However, I wanted her to take an active role in bringing them up. I felt like this was the best path for these children as a whole. With tears streaming down her face, Jessica affirmed that she agreed. She said, "Thanks, Emily. I'm going to give it my absolute all." From that point on, we started to discover a new kind of family dynamic. I made the decision to split from Ryan, though he still comes over often to help with childcare. Jessica also gets to see the kids frequently while being supervised by her parole officer. I started a new chapter, being the mother of twins and also a single parent. Initially, I was overflowing with worry, but with the help of my loved ones, plus the assistance of a local support group for single mothers, I'm gradually making progress. One day, while I was in the park pushing the stroller, an older woman approached and started talking to me. "They're both so cute," I answered with a smile. "Thank you," she added. "It must be hard work. However, when I looked at your eyes, I can see that you're strong." Those words caused tears to well up in my eyes. It is in fact challenging. But when those two little ones smile at me, it makes it all worthwhile. Once I got back home and the Bobbies were asleep, I wrote in my diary, "Dear Sophia and Olivia, I was so happy to get to spend another day with you both. You are both so important to me. There are certainly going to be many hurdles in your future, but I will always keep you safe and never stop loving you. The early part of your life may have been complicated. I really think this will help shape you into even kinder, more empathetic individuals. Sophia, Olivia, you both mean the world to me. Never change who you are. With all my love, that's who you are. You're my everything. Always be true to yourselves. Mom." As I shut my diary and gazed at my Bobbies as they slept, my resolve strengthened. The path before me won't always be easy, but for these two and for my own sake, I'm going to live with strength and kindness. A new day is starting. The light coming in through the window felt like a beacon of optimism. 5 years have gone by already, since then. Now Sophia and Olivia are lively 5-year-olds. Even though they don't look alike, seeing them interact like sisters just makes my heart swell. It's Sunday today. We're out at the park enjoying a picnic, as always. I'm relaxing on a bench, shaded from the sun, watching them have fun on the playground. "Emily." "Sorry, I'm late." I spun around to see Jessica hurrying over, panting. "She's carrying a homemade apple pie." "No problem, the kids just arrived too." Jessica sits down beside me and takes a big breath. "My counseling session was really good today. The therapist noticed how I'm improving." "That's fantastic," I responded with a genuine smile. Jessica and I, who didn't always get along in the past, have turned into good friends. It was her honest regret and her love for the kids that transformed things. "Hey, Emily," Jessica says, looking a little anxious. "I'm starting a new job next month. A new job is in my future, and I'll be volunteering in a child care facility." "That's fantastic. I think your perspective will be incredibly helpful." Her eyes were shining with tears. "I appreciate that. I was hoping I could transform the errors I've made into something good." Suddenly, Sophia and Olivia came hurrying toward us. "Mom, Aunt Jessica," they both yelled at the same time. "What's wrong? Push us on the swings." We exchanged smiles and chuckled. "Okay, let's go have some fun." While I was pushing the swings, I gazed up at the heavens. Fluffy white clouds were moving slowly across the azure expanse. Our lives have really taken an unforeseen course, haven't they? But it's through conquering these difficulties that we've found the joy we have today. Ryan and I are divorced, but he still spends time with the kids routinely. He's doing some introspection on his behavior, and he's striving to be a good dad. As for me, managing work and caring for the children as a single mom is pretty tough. But with help from my family, friends, and Jessica, I'm getting by. And yes, Jessica is now a cherished friend. Her presence makes our family better. "Hey everyone," I said to the kids and Jessica. "How about a sleepover at our place tonight?" "Yay," the kids shouted with glee, and Jessica happily agreed. Right then, I felt a genuine happiness deep inside me. Life is full of twists and turns that we can't predict. Nevertheless, I truly believe that with love and forgiveness, we can conquer any obstacle.